Arellanes. He is a technologist and consultant for the Media Development Loan Fund, an international media support organization based in Prague in the Czech Republic. He also is involved in training in technology with Transitions Online, and he moderates a radio program on Prague's Radio 1 with translation from Czech to English. Please welcome Doug Arellanes.
Is this working?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You just work?
It's great to be back in Tbilisi.
It might be.
My name is Douglas Arellanes.
I'm just doing this in case I didn't
and
see
I
if
do
you were
work for the
filming it.
Media Development Loan Fund. I am a technologist. And when I was asked to speak at this event, I was given the topic of how traditional media works with social media. And I was like, well, okay, what do we mean by traditional media? And they were like, well, media. I was like, oh, okay, what's that? So we're going to try to define some of these things. But also, in my job, I'm sort of a coach. So, for example, here in Georgia, I've worked with different media organizations, trying to get them to tighten up their media strategy, especially as it regards digital media. And that's part of what we do with the Media Development Loan Fund. But I'm a technologist, so don't come asking me for money. That's the wrong guy. So instead, if you want to talk about technology, and I'm going to be over in the social media, the social innovation camp. Sorry, I'll be there as well, talking with the different teams on those types of things. Sometimes when I talk to different clients, one of the things that happens is, the big bosses, especially of media organizations, they don't really follow this stuff. I mean, they haven't used email, let alone Twitter. So frequently for them, it is very difficult. And they come up and they say, well, give me one of them internet things. And I'm like, well, okay, what kind of internet thing do you want? And they're like, well, yeah, how much money is it going to cost me for a website? I'm like, well, what do you want the website to do? What are your goals? How do you plan to use this thing? Those are the types of issues that I work with when I have my clients. And now, before I really get started, one of the things that I was going to mention is it's always really hard to speak after lunch. So if you guys start to fall asleep, I'm going to throw stuff at you. Okay. Anyway, we're going to be talking about social media and media, and I actually have a case study from here in Georgia that I can present. The first thing that I want to mention, though, is, as in the introduction, I was introduced as being a DJ. I've been a DJ for about 20 years, and it's like with dancing, when you're a DJ, you could have the greatest club with thumping music and cold beer and flashing lights, and everything can be really, really cool, but if nobody's there, then it's not very fun. And the problem is that nobody really wants to go first, and this is something that you see when you're working with traditional media as they make a transition into online media. This video may actually help to illustrate some of this. This is actually a real video that somebody shot on their cell phone. You got the big unstoppable. And that's what's really important, but it's always kind of lonely when you're that first guy out there doing this. It's very lonely. When we're doing social media, one of the things it's like with dancing, nobody wants to go first. And one of the things that you will see originally when you're one of the pioneers in any kind of media is that the first people often find themselves very lonely in this regard. So how do we get the party started? How do we get things going? Well, first off, one of the things to think about is how your media, as a producer of traditional media, how your media is consumed. How do people actually get the news from you? This plant has many different names. Really quickly, in Georgian, what is this plant called? Abuadza. Abuadzera. And in Azeri? This plant, what is this plant called? Zangiotu. Okay. And in Armenian? Khatutik. Yes. Okay. That's my language lesson for the day, so thank you for that. Sorry? What is it? Zangiotu. Okay. What I'm going to ask you to do as producers of traditional media is to think like Zangiotu, like Abuadzera. Okay. Think like a dandelion. And I have actually some different thoughts about this. It happened about a year ago that one of my clients came to me and they said, you know, they took my article from the website and they copied it over to forum.ge and they've taken this article and they're discussing it like crazy over on forum.ge and I should be, you know, this is terrible, they're stealing my content. And I was like, wait, you've got the wrong approach. You should be really happy in many ways that people are discussing your content, even if it's elsewhere. And I have a little quote from a science fiction author that hopefully will explain some of this. This is a science fiction author by the name of Cory Doctorow. And he is a blogger as well. He has one of the biggest, most popular blogs in the world. It's a blog called Boing Boing at boingboing.net. And you know, if you haven't seen Boing Boing, you really should. It's a really terrific blog. Cory Doctorow is, in addition to being a blogger and a science fiction author, he's also one of the people very much involved in the fight for digital liberties. So freedom on the internet is something that he cares a lot about.